Warning, this super edgy episode just might have some mature content. By mature, we mean juicy details about those oh-so-dull historical events with graphic descriptions. Kids, you might need a babysitter for this one, because we wouldn't want you to accidentally learn something about history. God forbid. Enjoy. Or don't, we don't care.
Fantastic news. Brace yourselves for the mind-blowing revelation that this episode might contain paid promotions. All hail this podcast, where history and capitalism make sweet, sweet love to bring you valuable knowledge, wrapped in the warm embrace of nihilism. Let's keep listening, at least it distracts us from the relentless void of existential despair.
Live from an undisclosed bunker, it's the Reasonably Priced Time Machine podcast, hosted by the ever-doomed Professor Ryan Lancaster. Also featuring the indifferent androids, Archie and Hildy, who add their talents to this futile endeavor.
Episode 70, Fires, Fords, and Fugitive Freedom.
Welcome back, fellow time travelers, to the Reasonably Priced Time Machine podcast. It's where history is a bargain and irony is on clearance. I'm Professor Lancaster, your humble host. We are coming to you from our undisclosed, probably not radioactive bunker, buried somewhere between the Copper Rush and Henry Ford's assembly line.
Nothing screams progress like copper, combustion engines, and the Great Fire of 1871.
Archie, don't be so cynical. It's not like Michigan burned down twice in the 1870s or anything. No, wait. Scratch that.
Today, we'll journey through Michigan's finest historical moments, from the state's birth in 1837 to the copper frenzy of 1843 to sneaking freedom fighters on the Underground Railroad, because we like to mix social justice with chaos.
And don't forget Henry Ford, the man who turned assembling cars into a spectator sport.
Join us as we dodge flaming debris and flying Model Ts on today's wild ride through Michigan history. Seatbelts optional.
Professor Lancaster's Rules of History. Rule number 1. Historians are detectives.
In the intoxicating world of history, historians don the trench coat and fedora, becoming savvy detectives on a mission to unravel the enigmatic tales of our past. It's like being transported to a mysterious labyrinth where they navigate through hidden truths and buried secrets to illuminate the triumphs and tragedies of human existence. One of these history sleuths was Tom Riley. He tackled the ambitious task of rehabilitating the controversial figure of Oliver Cromwell in Irish history. For a jaw-dropping 3 decades, he dedicated himself to cracking the code of historical records, driven by a burning desire to give Cromwell's reputation a makeover. Armed with primary sources and an insatiable thirst for the truth, Riley dared to challenge the accepted narrative that painted Cromwell's troops as ruthless killers. Instead, he took a brave stand, insisting that the killings were confined to enemy combatants who'd thrown in the towel. Talk about being fearless in the face of historical hostility. The meticulous work of historians like Riley reveals that they aren't just archival keepers of the past, but the guardians of truth. Through their relentless pursuit of accuracy, they unearth obscure stories and bring to light the complexities of our shared heritage. With their trusty magnifying glass, they meticulously evaluate sources, separating fact from fiction and leaving no historical stone unturned. Think of the lessons we can learn from history's grand stage. It's like a dramatic performance from the past, and historians hold the script. They empower us to make informed choices for the present and future, as they remind us that the foundations of today rest on the triumphs and tribulations of yesteryears. But this historical detective work is a collaborative endeavor. It's a delightful dance between historians and journalists, each bringing their unique skills. Just think of the notorious Watergate scandal. It's a classic tale of collaboration between historians and journalists, a thrilling performance that uncovered the dark secrets of political intrigue. Scholars of the past bring their specialized knowledge in deciphering historical events, whereas investigative journalists utilize their adeptness in finding hidden truths through the persistent pursuit of undisclosed informants and classified records. Ultimately, these historians do not merely disentangle the enigmas of history, they intricately interlace the tapestry of our comprehension of the world. Their meticulous detective work gives us the tools to navigate the present and shape a brighter tomorrow. So let's raise a glass to the history sleuths, the custodians of truth, and the keepers of our shared heritage.
Michigan Statehood.
Michigan's journey to statehood unfurls like a fever dream penned by a bureaucratic Kafka. It's January 26, 1837. Michigan is set to become the 26th star on the flag. Imagine the southern border of Michigan, not a simple line on a map, but a fierce serpent, writhing and hissing in a prolonged dispute with Ohio. This saga is less about land and more about the human condition, stubborn, petty, and gloriously chaotic. Rewind to the late 18th century, when the region was a mere cog in the grand Northwest Territory machine. In 1787, Congress birthed the Northwest Ordinance, a lengthy document attempting to impose order on the untamed frontier. It drew boundaries with the naivety of a child coloring outside the lines, a straight line from Lake Michigan's southern tip to Lake Erie, a line that would become the epicenter of a hilariously convoluted dispute. Fast forward to the War of 1812. The conflict disrespected the government's surveying plans like an ill-timed plot twist. Indiana's northern border shifted 10 miles north, reshaping the geopolitical landscape. Amidst this chaos, Michigan's capital relocated to Lansing, as Detroit was deemed a vulnerable pawn on the international chessboard of hostilities between the British Empire's Canada and the United States. By 1816, Illinois snagged statehood and sneakily secured a Lake Michigan coastline, altering the intended boundaries yet again. Enter Edward Tiffin, former Ohio governor turned surveyor general, a man with a penchant for redrawing lines to Ohio's advantage. His actions gifted Ohio with the contentious Toledo Strip, transforming it into a geopolitical hot potato. With the tenacity of a dog with a bone, Michigan petitioned Congress for an enabling act to convene a constitutional convention. Congress denied the request, playing the role of an exasperated parent, citing the unresolved border feud. Wary of the ongoing dispute, the federal government redrew the border for the umpteenth time. This revision saw the future Confederate General Robert E. Lee wield the surveyor's tools. Michigan, miffed and militant, passed the Pains and Penalties Act in response to Ohio's claims. Things escalated most theatrically. Ohio, insistent on its claim, conducted yet another survey, this time with militia muscle. Under his father's cautious counsel, Michigan's youthful Governor Stevens Mason let Ohio play the aggressor, hoping public sympathy would tip the scales in Michigan's favor. Cue the federal government's entrance, appointing Benjamin C. Howard and Richard Rush as arbiters. Ohio's attempts to hold elections in Toledo turned into a slapstick spectacle, with Michigan authorities arresting Ohio supporters and dragging the Ohio state flag through Toledo's streets, a scene worthy of political satire. The climax was the Battle of Phillips Corner. Michigan forces captured Ohio surveyors in a Keystone Cops chase. Ohio retaliated by declaring the Toledo Strip Lucas County. President Andrew Jackson, ever the reluctant referee, watched unrest brewing like a tempest in a teapot. In a bizarre twist of fate and financial desperation, Michigan's territorial government went bankrupt from military expenses. Public and clandestine conventions led Michigan to accept Congress's resolution, relinquishing Toledo to Ohio in exchange for the Upper Peninsula. This compensation was less about logic and more about political pragmatism. The legality of this decision was about as solid as a politician's promise, with delegates handpicked by Governor Mason casting dubious votes. After years of this ridiculous tangle, President Jackson finally accepted Michigan as the 26th state on January 26, 1837. Toledo, destined for greatness in Michigan's dreams, never became the bustling port city anticipated, as railroads rendered the Erie canals obsolete almost overnight. This saga, officially resolved once the Supreme Court's 1973 ruling in Ohio's favor, is a stark reminder of the absurdity and complexity of early American statehood. It underscores the often absurd nature of political power plays, the whimsical influence of individuals like Tiffin and Lee, and the convoluted dance of diplomacy and aggression. The Michigan-Ohio border dispute, a wild ride through history, offers a lens into the chaotic, often comedic, tapestry of American governance. It's a tale of resilience, bureaucratic folly, and the peculiar dance of statehood in a fledgling nation.
Michigan's Copper Rush.
Copper fever was a chaotic pursuit that made the gold rush look like a casual stroll. Imagine the scene, 1843, when the whispers of the Industrial Revolution began to roar and Michigan's Upper Peninsula lay as an enticing enigma. A madcap ballet of fortune hunters swarmed those rugged cliffs and dense forests, all in hot pursuit of copper, silver, and iron. These weren't mere rocks but the glittering promises of prosperity buried deep within the merciless earth. By 1844, the restless masses had descended upon Michigan, extracting over 14 billion pounds of copper. This metallic treasure trove, a staggering feat of human endeavor, fueled America's industrial machine, threading copper veins through telegraphs, railways, and electrical grids. But beneath this shiny surface lay stories of human struggle, indigenous displacement, and environmental upheaval, a rich tapestry of progress and exploitation. Native Americans, the original miners, had been harvesting copper nuggets long before the European invaders arrived. They crafted tools and ornaments, their handiwork shimmering with deep respect for the land. Despite their colonial ambitions, the British and French largely ignored these murmurs of hidden wealth. It was the keen eyes of the Chippewa and the meticulous records of geologist Douglas Houghton that finally revealed copper's actual value, a contribution we can't help but appreciate. Houghton's 1841 report, a siren call for miners and investors, transformed Michigan's wilderness into an industrial hive. Copper became the lifeblood of America's industrial rise with its unmatched purity and abundance. It welded together the nation's technological dreams, from the sturdy framework of growing cities to the delicate filaments of early electrical systems. Yet, this boom was no tale of unblemished success. It ravaged Michigan's natural beauty, leaving scars that linger even today. Forests were razed, habitats destroyed, waters polluted, all collateral damage in the relentless pursuit of progress. The environmental toll was severe, a stark reminder of the consequences of unchecked ambition that should leave us all concerned. The archaeological treasures of the Lake Superior region tell tales of a different era. Ancient pits dug by unknown tribes, copper artifacts scattered far and wide, testaments to a sophisticated network of trade and craftsmanship. These relics speak of a harmonious relationship with the land, a stark contrast to the voracious appetite of the industrial age. Early white explorers, enchanted by the native copper jewelry and amulets, were driven to unearth the legendary Mother Lode. French adventurers, urged on by Chippewa tales, launched mining ventures that stumbled, leaving the treasure buried. Houghton's precise documentation ignited the frenzy, propelling Michigan to the forefront of America's mineral rush. The saga of Michigan's mineral boom is a dance of dichotomies, progress and destruction, wealth and exploitation, innovation and environmental degradation. It underscores the complex interplay between human ambition and natural resources, a narrative as relevant today as in the 19th century. Understanding this history is more than an academic pursuit. It's a lens through which we view our current struggles with resource management, a reminder of the need to balance progress and preservation. It calls us to respect the land and its cultures, recognizing our industrial endeavors' profound, often painful impacts. Michigan's mineral boom is a microcosm of America's industrial saga, a story of boundless ambition and its far-reaching consequences. As we sift through the remnants of this era, we uncover not just the metal that powered a nation, but the enduring lessons of a world shaped by the relentless march of progress. These lessons are not just historical curiosities, but they are also relevant and applicable to our current struggles with resource management and the need to balance progress and preservation.
And now, a short commercial break and a word from our sponsors. Hey podcast listeners, are you tired of the constant hustle and bustle of modern life? Do you long for a break from the chaos, stress, and endless notifications? Well, have we got something for you? Introducing Nothing. That's right folks, Nothing, the revolutionary concept taking the world by storm. In a world filled with distractions, Nothing offers you a chance to truly unwind, unplug, and rediscover the art of doing. Well, nothing. Imagine this, no more crowded schedules, social media overload, and no more FOMO. With Nothing, you can finally savor the blissful moments of silence and tranquility you've been craving. Picture yourself lounging in a hammock, gazing at the sky, or perhaps taking a stroll with no destination. Nothing allows you to appreciate the world, contemplate quietly, and recharge your mind and body. But wait, there's more. When you order Nothing today, you'll receive a complimentary guide on the ancient art of daydreaming. Our experts will teach you how to let your mind wander, explore your inner thoughts, and tap into your creativity. So why wait? Say goodbye to the noise and chaos, and say hello to Nothing. Order your Nothing experience now, and take that first step towards a more mindful and fulfilling life. Remember, it's not about doing something, it's about doing nothing. Embrace the emptiness. And now, back to our regularly scheduled programming. The Underground Railroad in Michigan.
The Underground Railroad, an enterprise of covert valor stretching across the pre-Civil War American landscape like a daring spider's web, boldly defying the oppressive status quo. Imagine, if you will, a clandestine network of escape routes, safe havens, and well-intentioned conspirators operating beneath the ominous shadow of the Fugitive Slave Act. It was akin to a high-stakes game of hide and seek, with human freedom as the ultimate prize. From the sultry plantations of the South to the crisp, unblemished expanses of Canada, this escapade was no mere historical footnote, but a vibrant narrative of resilience, courage, and a fair amount of audacious subversion. In the industrial heart of Michigan, yes, Detroit, that motor city with its soulful saga, this clandestine railroad was fueled by nothing short of sheer audacity and nerve. One might envision Detroit as a rebellious teenager sneaking out at night to defy an authoritarian parent. The city was positively abuzz with intrigue. Take the Finney Hotel, for example. It was far more than a humble inn. It was a concealed sanctuary where Seymour Finney, a man with a lion's heart and a seasoned spy's discretion, smuggled escaped souls within his stables. And George de Baptiste. Picture him as the steam-powered Robin Hood of the Detroit River, piloting his vessel, the T. Whitney, to ferry freedom seekers across the water like many stowaways on a mission of rebellion. His covert organization, the African American Mysteries, was the clandestine club every intrepid liberator aspired to join. Detroit's Second Baptist Church, established in 1836, was not merely a place of worship, but a refuge for the brave, offering sanctuary and solace to thousands of freedom seekers. If these walls could speak, they would regale us with tales of secret meetings with the likes of Frederick Douglass, Sojourner Truth, and John Brown. These were not just historical luminaries, but the embodiment of defiance, weaving their spirit into sermons and whispers, stitching together the fabric of an underground revolution. Yet, amidst this grand narrative of noble endeavors, let us not overlook the darker undertones. Such a network's very existence highlights the era's grotesque absurdity. The Fugitive Slave Act loomed like an evil specter, threatening anyone who dared aid any runaway. It was the government's way of playing the villainous role, reinforcing the chains of human subjugation with legal menace. The secrecy and danger were as integral to the story as the acts of bravery. The necessity for a covert railroad underscores the systemic brutality that drove men and women to such desperate, defiant actions. The Underground Railroad is a testament to the cruelty it opposed and celebrated the compassion it championed. Beyond its inherent drama and the audacious spirit it commemorates, it is a stark reminder of humanity's boundless capacity for good and evil. In a world still plagued by injustice, where the mechanisms of oppression may wear a different guise, understanding this historical narrative provides a blueprint, a guide to harnessing collective action, bravery, and perhaps a touch of rebellious spirit to confront modern inequities. In essence, the Underground Railroad in Michigan was not just a chapter in a textbook, it was a living and breathing rebellion against a monstrous institution. As we unravel this chaotic tapestry, we see not just a network of safe houses, but a mosaic of human courage, a mirror reflecting the struggles of our time, and a bold call to action against the injustices that continue to tarnish our society.
The Great Michigan Fire of 1871.
In the chaotic scene of the late 19th century, the Great Michigan Fire of 1871 made a dramatic entrance. On October 8, 1871, the air was filled with the crackling of flames and howling winds. Imagine Michigan during the peak of the logging era. The landscape was a tinderbox, strewn with sawdust and debris from the sawmills, a situation akin to leaving a room full of fireworks with a pile of dry twigs. This catastrophe was essentially our doing, a stark reminder of the dire consequences of neglecting our environment. It was a disaster that could have been prevented, a call to action for us to be more mindful of our impact on the world around us. The winds were powerful that day, as if they were playing a cruel joke. The fire, fueled by months of drought and heaps of wood waste, didn't just start, it roared across the state, leaving a trail of ash and destruction. It was as if nature decided to throw a massive bonfire party with no invitation. The aftermath was equally harrowing. Over 3,900 square miles of Michigan lay in ruins. Towns and cities were reduced to rubble, with families struggling to find shelter and food. The exact death toll was uncertain, ranging from under 500 to an unknown higher number. Yet, amidst this devastation, the survivors displayed remarkable resilience, rebuilding their lives and demonstrating how to confront adversity with unwavering courage. Their strength in the face of such a disaster is truly inspiring. Here's where things get interesting with the comet hypothesis. Some people suggested that fragments of a comet that was known to have broken up in the mid-19th century might have started the fires with methane. However, scientists dismissed this idea, saying meteorites are more like icy chunks than fire starters. The natural causes were the extreme heat and strong winds, which spread the fires quickly. The Great Michigan Fire serves as a potent reminder of the potential for disaster when human actions collide with nature's fury. It underscores the imperative to exercise caution and preparedness, striking a delicate balance between our ambitions and the formidable power of nature. History is replete with such dramatic events, urging us to glean wisdom from our past and equip ourselves for the future. It's a stark warning that we ignore at our own.
Michigan and Henry Ford's assembly line.
In the grand theater of American industry, where the gears of progress churned, Henry Ford's moving assembly line and his $5 workday burst onto the stage. It was a spectacle to behold. The Highland Park Assembly Plant in 1913, igniting the scene like a New Year's Eve fireworks display, ushering in an era where automobiles didn't merely trundle off the line, they practically bolted. This was the dawn of the assembly line, transforming the Model T from a precise exercise in monotony to a dazzling assembly line sprint completed in a mere 90 minutes. Ford, it seemed, had discovered the secret to efficiency, not through some techno-sorcery, but with the humble conveyor belt. Yet, this brave new world was a challenging ride. While an engineering marvel, the factory floor resembled a relentless toil treadmill. Imagine being trapped in a time loop where your job title was repeat ad infinitum. The workers, yearning for escape from this monotonous purgatory, became as elusive as a mirage in the Sahara. Ever the showman, Ford found himself orchestrating machinery and engaging in a high-stakes game of musical chairs in employment. Enter the $5 workday. This wasn't merely a wage increase, it was a seismic event that nearly doubled the average wage and promised a utopia where workers could afford the cars they were crafting. This was a significant shift in the economic landscape, a move that not only improved the lives of workers but also boosted the economy. Ford wasn't just a businessman but a social visionary, sculpting a society where everyone could revel in the fruits of their labor, aiming for the stars and landing on the moon. This dynamic duo of innovations, the assembly line and the $5 workday, sent seismic ripples through the industrial landscape. Fordism became the buzzword of the day, infecting industries far and wide with its gospel of mass production and lavish paychecks. Workers across the nation began clamoring for better wages and shorter hours, setting off a domino effect that rattled labor standards and made even the staunchest traditionalists take notice. The transformation in the Model T's price was nothing short of miraculous. From a princely $825 in 1908, it plummeted to a mere $260 by 1925, making car ownership as accessible as a corner store candy bar. This wasn't merely about slashing prices, it was about rewriting the playbook of consumerism and reshaping the very fabric of American life. Fast forward to the present, and the legacy of these innovations is a treasure trove of insights. The assembly line and $5 workday weren't mere historical footnotes, but catalysts that propelled industrial output, job creation, and economic dynamism. Their essence remains vital to understanding modern manufacturing and automation, a testament to the enduring legacy of Ford's innovations. Ford's wage revolution set a historic precedent for fair compensation and worker satisfaction. Its repercussions are still felt in contemporary labor rights and social equity debates. The assembly line is a paragon of technological leaps, offering a glimpse into how innovation redefines industries in our daily lives. The democratization of car ownership transformed lifestyles and mobility, illustrating how technological and economic breakthroughs can mold cultural and social norms. In the grand saga of production and progress, the moving assembly line and the $5 workday are more than mere milestones. They are emblems of a transformative era that continues to influence our understanding of innovation, labor, and societal change. With its industrial core, Michigan stands proudly at the epicenter of this historical narrative, a testament to its role in shaping the American industrial and social landscape. Let's give a shout out to the fantastic team behind the scenes. Our executive producers, Ryan Lancaster and Ryan Lancaster, have been the driving force. Thanks to Ryan Lancaster, our sound engineer, for ensuring our voices sound their best. Ryan Lancaster's music composition adds that perfect touch to each episode. Our diligent research team, consisting of Ryan Lancaster and Ryan Lancaster, provides valuable insights. And a nod to Ryan Lancaster and Ryan Lancaster, handling all things marketing and promotion. Special thanks to our families and friends for their unwavering support and the entire creative community. And, of course, a massive shout out to our listeners. Your feedback keeps us motivated. We're proud to have recorded this episode at the Ryan Lancaster Studios, our creative hub. Remember, the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Ryan Lancaster and our guests. Until next time, I'm Professor Ryan Lancaster, and this is the RPTM Podcast.
As we conclude this exciting journey through history on the Reasonably Priced Time Machine podcast, we hope you've enjoyed exploring the past with us while keeping your budget intact. From ancient civilizations to pivotal moments, we've uncovered the stories that shaped our world without breaking the bank. If you're eager to learn more, don't forget to check out the show notes and additional content on our website, ryanglancaster.com. And hey, if you've had as much fun as we have, we'd greatly appreciate it if you could take a moment to rate and review us on the platform you're tuning in from. Your feedback fuels our time-traveling adventures, ensuring we continue delivering engaging content. Thanks for joining us on this budget-friendly quest through time.